All righty. Edmund, it has been a lovely chatting with you so far this afternoon. We briefly spoke about the position that you applied for and the duties that it entails. I have your resume pulled up here. So I'll kind of go over the roles that you have worked in, and then I'll give you the mic so you can go ahead and highlight your background there. So as far as your background, you have previously worked for, as far as roles, as a administrative assistant for a director for two of your roles for more than 10 years at that. You have that skill set. You worked as a field technician as well, a human services specialist, and a relationship advisor. So I would love for, in various industries as well, I would love for you to highlight or kind of give me a rundown as far as your professional experience, if you will, please.
Sure. If I were to go back to kind of like my resume, so if
Mhm.
the last position coming forward, I worked as the food and beverage director's admin assistant, where I helped both the restaurant, the bar, and the resort. And basically, it was just a food and beverage director. So basically, I was just doing either inventory of the different restaurants and or the supplies as to what we needed, as well as taking shorthand, typing, doing memos for the director to kind of send out to the different staff members. And I did that from 2002 to 2006. Then we did relocate to Atlanta, Georgia, where I then became the administrative assistant to the housing director for a nonprofit in Atlanta, and that was called Community Friendship. I was there for 7 years, from 2007 to 2014, and in which case that director had me um, basically just try to help. So she had independent housing, she had group homes and different things. So I not only co-interviewed the clients that were going into the homes, but I also turned that information into the state, since it was a nonprofit, and that's how we got paid. So it was kind of like both a payroll system, so that again, we were getting paid for the reimbursement for the housing, as well as administrative duties like typing, taking memos, and kind of taking meeting minutes for the different meetings that we would, go into. Those are my two. In between those two, those are my predominant administrative assistant titles. From that point on, I transferred to the Department of Motor Vehicles, which is more of a high-end customer service technician. That was just helping people in mass. I mean, it was just like, nonstop. The DMV does not. It always gives you a lot to do. Every
Yes.
single day is the same thing. You are constantly busy, and everybody hates you. So it's not always the best
Yeah,
job, but it's okay. But it
that's
did
fair.
give me a lot of experience on moving faster and kind of getting with the program, and doing as much as you can with as much accuracy as you can.
Sure.
Um, and then for 6 years, I was also with the state of Nevada as a human resources specialist, and that was more of a transfer. I was kind of tired of the Department of Motor Vehicles. I had to put in the year experience there before I could transfer, and then I did transfer to that human resources specialist position.
Sure.
Um, that was more on a role of helping the people that were going to help. The clients that we had were aging and disabled, and basically I wasn't working with those clients directly. I was working with the employees that started with the state that helped those people. So I was pretty much doing more of the human resources, the new hire orientation, as well as just kind of getting people on board. So I also had to submit their payroll information, like their W-4s and that type of thing, to payroll so they could get paid on a timely basis. So that's kind of a nutshell.
Yeah.
Hopefully. talk too quick or stumble too
No,
much.
that was perfect, Edmund. And I appreciate how detailed we were with each role. As far as your skill set, it's there, right? You have the experience in administrative assistant for over 10 years. You have well over, 4 years as a human resources. You've done the payroll, the onboarding, as well as all the admin duties that come to play with that. You also mentioned how you worked at the Department of Motor Vehicles, right? It was
Yes.
nonstop. So you're able to tackle those high pressure environments where it is very much customer or client based, in
Yes.
person at that, and having to have those customer service skills where I'm sure that's where you learned a lot of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, customer service, it's a lot of our job day to day. We're dealing with people, whether it's email, phone, in person. So tell me, what does customer service mean to you, Edmund?
Um, for me, for the most part, I just tend to treat people the way that I want to be treated. And so I treat people with respect. I don't go there with people. There's a lot of times when people come in, let's say to the Department of Motor Vehicles, where they're quite upset, whether it's because they waited for 3 hours, whatever the reason is. The worst thing you can do is go there with them and kind of get drawn into, he said, she said, a battle, that type of thing. So I try to respect the client, the customer. I try to make sure that they are important. Ask them and or let them know by their name as opposed to their number, or whatever they're trying to do. It's not, they're not a number. They're an individual. They're a name. So I try to make sure that I respect them and put them as an individual, not just a part of a group or part of a big entity. So,
I agree. And I think that's one of the major parts as far as customer service is that initial interaction and making them feel like it's a personable experience. So that was very well said, Edmund. I want to go ahead and backtrack as far as the systems that you have utilized or that you're familiar with. Of course, you've utilized emails. What kind of system were you utilizing for the emails, or any other systems, if you can kind of touch base on that?
um, I mean, most of the positions that I did use, as far as emails, all tended to use Outlook, or tended to use Zoom, for like calls, as well as I did use HRIS, which is a payroll system. I had to use Petrie software and QuickBooks for um, the nonprofit, because that's what they used in Georgia as well. I think they use it in Florida too, but it seemed to be more of a East Coast thing, or South, where they use the Peachtree and the QuickBooks. So I learned that. And then, like I said, I have the Microsoft suite pretty well down. Excel, Word, as well as, like I said, Outlook. And then I do have experience on like a 10 incoming line phone bank, from which is what I kind of used to transfer calls to the different departments when I was also in the nonprofit organization. Um, use Adobe Acrobat a little bit, but it's mostly just for presentations of slides. Those are the major ones.
Perfect, perfect. Well, that sounds amazing. Now, Edmund, what skill set do you have that you feel as though makes you stand out compared to other candidates who are also applying to this role?
Um, I guess one of the best. Sometimes it's the best thing. Sometimes it's the worst thing, depending on who is looking at it. But long story short, I just think that what's very important is, just because I am older, I do bring a wealth of information and a wealth of knowledge that you might not get from someone that's younger. And again, it's not against young or old. It's just kind of like, because I've been around for 50 some years, it just kind of like you kind of build up a lot of experience, not just work wise, but just how to treat people, how to be, and how to be confident. So those are all kind of things that you should bring, that I bring to the table.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, also with your tenure and your experience, you bring a wealth of wisdom. So I think that's also an added bonus to that. My last question for you, Edmund, is going to be, when are you able to start a new role?
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I'd be willing to start a week from this upcoming Friday. So I guess that would be the 21st.
So a week from this upcoming Friday, yeah, so it'd be the 21st. So for
Hmm.
like a Monday, it'd be the 24th, actually.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
Perfect, perfect. All right, well, that sounds great, Edmund. Well, it has truly been a pleasure speaking with you this afternoon. I am going to go ahead and stop the recording. Don't hang up on me. I want to continue chatting with you.
Right. Okay. Gotcha.